Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100th of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host today, Logan Landers, and today it's in the air. The football season, it's right around the corner this upcoming Friday. NFL preseason week one, baby. We're talking about the Detroit Lions versus the Atlanta Falcons in the game that will kick off the preseason. It's going to be fun. I know we had the Hall of Fame game last week with the Jaguars and the Raiders. Raiders got the W in that one. But now we're going into the official of the official with these two teams here. But I can't talk about this game just by myself. I could, but I don't want to. I had to bring on one of my closest compadres, one of my best friends in the sports broadcasting world, my co-host for the Unscripted Sports Podcast, available on Facebook and everywhere else you can listen to shows, honestly. My man, Jason McMahon, or as we like to call him on the air, Jay McLovin. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. You know, I think I'm really hoping that we get to see more of the actual starters in this game per se than what Jacksonville gave us in that Hall of Fame game with Lawrence and ETN sitting out. So, you know, I think this is going to be a little bit more competitive than that specific game. You know what I mean?
Right. We could hope so. And it has been put out there that the Lions, at least, are going to put out the first string guys for, I believe, most of, if not all of, the first quarter. So we are going to see a good bit of football action. But, hey, before I kick it over to you, my friend, if you like the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, and go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube. We have clips of show on Instagram and, of course, our podcast. You can listen to it every single day on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your podcast. We are there with daily episodes. Let's talk about this, man. All right, Jay, break down the Detroit Lions. What can they do to get themselves a victory in a battle of the teams who both these teams didn't even get a win in preseason last year? So this year, already someone's going to be off to the hostile bowl. Talk about the Lions. What can they do to get the win in this one?
Right. Well, you know, as you know, Jared Goff, they obviously believe in him. They didn't bring in any quarterbacks to give him a run for his money. They didn't draft any quarterbacks. Honestly, even the Lions really didn't even bring in a whole lot of free agents or anything like that, honestly, during the offseason. So that kind of tells me that Dan Campbell believes that what he has in Detroit is enough to go forward with. He believes, obviously, in Jared Goff. I feel like, you know, he thinks he has enough there that Jared can learn. I believe they brought in, and correct me if I'm wrong, they brought in a new offensive coordinator to revamp Jared a little bit. Aiden Hutchinson, I think they like what he's doing there on the defensive side of the ball. Okuda, you know, the 2020 draft pick that they got, they felt like, you know, he obviously ruptured that Achilles, I believe it was. And so I think they're going to see what they have in him this year. Is he going to be able to pan out and be that quarterback that they thought he was going to be? So the Lions, you know, they have a lot going for them. I think tonight when they do play, I think we're going to see, hopefully we'll see Okuda in there and see what he can do. Aiden, we're going to see what he can do. But mostly it's going to be, can Jared Goff, you know, can he, you know, make those completions and things like that versus what he did last year, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, the Lions, I mean, let's face it, they were off to a decent start. You know, I mean, they finished with a rough record, but I don't feel like the record indicates their style of play and how they performed last year. They were playing teams hard through all four quarters. It wasn't like they were back in 2009, right, when they were just abysmal. They were actually putting up a good fight with Dan Campbell, who obviously they trust. They're on the new season of Hard Knocks, which just came out. You mentioned Aiden Hutchinson. He was doing his best Michael Jackson impersonation the other night. I don't know if you saw that clip, Jay, but it is pretty phenomenal. Had the whole room singing, dancing, had shirts being thrown off. It was a wild time, but you can tell that the team chemistry is there for this Detroit team. Last year, they ranked second to last in terms of points allowed with 467, and they were the fourth worst unit when it came to yards given up with 6,456. So the defense needs some work, that is for sure. But like you mentioned, that's where you get the returning Jeff Okuda. And now their superstar, the guy who's going to be selling all the merchandise, Aiden Hutchinson, coming over from Michigan, staying in the same state. How can he perform? I'm excited to see how he is going to do in his first preseason action. As you mentioned, Jared Goff, he is a little bit on the hot seat, I would say. After a decent season last year, You got to think that he's got to step it up this year if the Lions want to trust him for pretty much the remainder of his tenure. Last year had a solid, nothing crazy, but threw for 3,245 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks last year. Not great, but not awful, just kind of in between. And as for the receiving talent, it's going to be, I think, an underrated in terms of teams in the NFL, in terms of their wide receiving unit, because they have some very good players. We all know Jameson Williams, he's not going to be playing in this game. He is still coming off of that injury. But once he returns back in full health, I think he's going to be a big step up for this offense. DJ Shark as well. And, of course, their one bright spot, I feel, and someone who I feel like is criminally underrated is Amon-Ra St. Brown at the wide receiving core. So I think they're going to be fine there. I am still a little bit iffy about the defense. And as for the running game, you have two guys who ran for over 200 or 600 yards last year with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, two guys who I think could also take another step up. So I think the Lions are in a pretty good position. I'm just still not 1,000% sure, Jay, about how if that defense is going to be a little bit better or if it's going to be the same as it was last year. It remains to be seen. But expecting for this game, though, I'm expecting some good passes from Goff. Obviously, he's been around the league for some time now. And I'm expecting some of the second-year guys, and I think Aiden Hutchinson specifically can have a very good day with an offensive line for the Falcons, which is still trying to get it going. I think Hutchinson can maybe get a sack or two in this upcoming ball game. I mentioned the Falcons, Jay. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan is no longer there. Brand new quarterback and under helm for the first time since 2007. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. What can they do to get the W this upcoming game?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cordell Patterson seems like he wants to take more of a versatile role with this Falcons team. I think he's saying he wants to do some punt returns, kick returns. I think he wants to be more in the receiving game. I mean, he's really put himself out there for a lot of different things to be more involved with this Falcons team. He's obviously going to be going up against Damian Williams, which I think Damian Williams may see a little bit more action in the running game with Cordell Patterson taking on a lot of these other extra duties. So I think you're going to see him a little bit. But I think the real big thing is going to be Marcus Mariota. He feels like he learned enough from Derek Carr sitting behind him over at the Raiders that he feels like, this is now his time to step up his game and, really take the reins as a second chance as a starter. Obviously, the tenure with the Titans didn't really go the way he wanted it to. But I think he feels like he can do something now with this Falcons team. And apparently, from what I've seen in the reports from training camp, it looks like he's shining to be the number one guy. Obviously, they got Desmond Ridder, the guy out of the third round or whatever it was, something like that in the draft. But, they're saying that he doesn't quite look polished enough really to really give Mariota enough competition to take that starting job away from him. They're saying that Mariota is making the more crisper passes and things like that. So I do expect to see a lot out of Mariota this coming season, and we'll find out what they actually have. But on the defensive side of the ball, I think they look pretty decent. Again, we'll see what happens there. But I think this will be. I think the Falcons are going to be the more poised and better rounded team than what the Lions have. The Lions, like I said, they're still kind of up and coming. But I think I think what Smith is able to do with the talent that he has. Well, let's be honest, it's not like a lot of big name guys on this Atlanta team. So, but he's really good at getting the most out of his players, talent-wise. And if he was, I believe, the offensive coordinator with the Raiders when Mariota was there. So Mariota has a really good relationship with Smith. So I think that's going to be one of the big signs for this Falcons team in terms of getting Mariota settled in. And I expect big things out of Mariota, and I think time will tell. But yeah, the Falcons I think they're going to do well, and they're going to have their hands full this upcoming season for sure.
Yeah, and talking about this Falcons team, you mentioned the relationship between Arthur Smith, and Marcus Mariota. We all know that Smith was with the Titans for quite some time, about 10 years or so. So obviously he went through Marcus getting drafted, the progression, the regression, and all of that. And now that Marcus has came out and is going to go into that veteran role, Maybe this might be his one lone season as quarterback before they put in Desmond Ridder. It remains to be seen. But looking at some of the training camp footage and whatnot, just reading some up about how Mariota's done in training camp against his own team, they said he has looked spectacular. He's had really good ball placement. He hasn't gotten sacked much. I say sacked because, they're not hitting the quarterback. But he's looked really good. And as expected, I mean, he's a veteran. He knows what to do. And that's what I think is going to be kind of the big key here. Because even though the quarterback battle hasn't been decided 100% yet, I am also leaning towards the fact that it's probably going to be Mariota. Why rush Desmond Ridder? Why go out there, shake up his confidence, have him sit on the bench, learn behind Mariota, and see how he can do in year 2 or year 3. It doesn't matter. But talking about this Falcons team, once again, I'm going to talk about the defense. Not that solid. Both these teams struggled on defense last year. There's no doubt about that. Falcons 4th worst in the NFL when points allowed, 459 as a total. And also, man, they gave up a lot of yards. If it wasn't for A.J. Terrell, my God, they would have maybe set a new record in terms of passing yards allowed. And I mentioned him because he is the guy on this defense that people are looking at that they're looking at on offense and saying, don't throw to this side of the ball, this side of the field, because he is a ball hawk. So watch out for him. And you mentioned Cordell Patterson, a very good bright spot for the Falcons last year, kind of like an elder Deebo Samuel, we'll say in a way, right? Able to do it with catching the ball, run the ball, punt returns, kick returns, you name it. He pretty much did all of it last year. Really good gadget player. And I'm expecting another good year for him once again this year. Of course, we know the rushing game with Patterson and Davis last year, it was okay. Wasn't the greatest. But I think that the receiving core is really, really what needs to get it going this year. Kyle Pitts, we know the hybrid, the really good freakishly athletic tight end. Got over 1,000 yards last year, but only got 1 touchdown, which is wild to think they just could not get his number in the end zone for whatever reason. I mean, there were some games where they would throw the ball 3 or 4 times. It's like, man, this guy can go up against anyone. So I expect a heavier load for Kyle Pitts this year. And also, first-round pick Drake London coming out of USC with the Trojans. I think he could have a pretty solid day as well. He's looked really good in training camp also. So I think with Mariota under center, with the brand new, Drake London, of course, it's going to hurt missing Calvin Ridley for the whole season with his gambling issue and whatnot, with him getting suspended for that. That's going to hurt this team. You do have Zacchaeus, who is pretty solid, but I still think that overall for the Falcons, they've improved in some ways, but there's some ways that they're still lacking behind other teams in their division in the NFL. But let's get into it, Jay. Let's talk about the final score. Who do you have winning this one? What is your prediction? What's your score for this one, my friend?
Yeah. Without the Falcons having a clear number 1 wideout, I think they might, other than Kyle Pitts, it's going to be interesting to see, how Mariota is going to be able to do that passing game. So with that being said, I think they're going to do a lot of running. I think you're going to see a lot of Kyle Pitts in there. So I'm going to go. I am still going to give them the edge. I'm going to give them the win. I'm going to go 17-7 Falcons over Detroit.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Falcons getting the win in this one. I just think I think the younger talent is going to step up. I don't think the defense is still quite there. I still think they're going to have maybe one of the worst or one of the lowest defensive lines in the NFL in terms of getting to the quarterback. Because, they got under 10, I think, last year as a team. And they didn't get too many guys to improve on that this offseason. I know they've drafted some guys, but I'm not too sure how they're going to perform year 1 or how much playing time they're going to get. But I think with Mariota, who's looked really good, with Kyle Pitts, who's going to want the shine, and then also Drake London, we're going to get to see his first taste of action in the NFL. Along with the Lions, just kind of not so good defense. We don't know if Aiden Hutchinson's going to be on point for his first game. Might get those butterflies. We don't know how Okudah is. He's going to be back to full health. So I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Falcons will get the win in this one, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a higher score. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons' favorite number, 28, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions, 14. So I think the Falcons win this one. I think Arthur Smith will get off to a good start. And in the battle of the second-year head coaches, I'm going to give the win to Arthur Smith and the Falcons going 1-0 on the preseason. Well, Jay, do you have any final thoughts, anything like to promote, or anything else you want to say about this game before we wrap things up here today, sir?
Yeah, the one thing I want to kind of point out for the Lions, which intrigues me the most, and you mentioned it, was DJ Shark. They brought him in on a one-year prove-it deal because of the injuries that he's had to deal with. And I think that could be an X factor for Detroit. How well he plays, how productive he is, if he stays healthy. I think for Goff, he could prove to be their number one if he can stay healthy and really come back into it. So I think look out for DJ Shark. I'm curious to see how much they play him in this specific preseason game and how much they play him up and until leading to the actual regular season. So keep an eye on DJ Shark in this Lions preseason game. And let's see what he actually does, because that could be the X factor. That could actually turn it around and give the Lions the edge over the Falcons, depending on how well he plays and how well Swift comes on that run game. I still have the edge, like I said, going to Atlanta, but look out for DJ Shark. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup to see there. Hey, don't forget, Catch Unscripted, man. Logan, he's our boy, man. And Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 Eastern and Saturdays at 8 Eastern.
You're right. Hey, check us out on Facebook at Unscripted 3 times a week. Amazing, unfiltered, anything topic, anything goes. It's fun. It's myself, Jay, our boy Frankie, Chris Gonzo, and a bunch of other guests we have on each and every single week. We don't know who's coming on. They just pop on whenever. So if you'll come over there, check us out. It'd be much appreciated. But yeah, final thoughts on this one. I want to see the Falcons offensive line get something going, man. Because I see the reports every day that they're subbing guys in and out. They're trying to get the offensive line under helm and figure something out. And I mean, with the preseason, I get the preseason. You still have some kinks to work out, but it wasn't that good last year, man. They gave up a lot of sacks. The games are won, Jay. You know this, in the trenches, on the O line and the D line. And that's where the Falcons have struggled, at least for last year. And I think they are going to continue. I think they're going to improve, but I think that it's going to continue this upcoming season. So I'm very much interested to see how both of those lines are going to be able to play this upcoming week against the Lions. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Like I said, anyone's able to watch. I think it's on NFL Network, 6 o'clock. So it's going to be a great game to watch. Falcons, Lions. Football is back in session. It's fun, man. Thank you so much to my boy, Jay McLovin, coming on, doing some tremendous expertise. I'm your host, Logan Landers. Like I said, if you like the video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every single week, Facebook and YouTube. Clips are shown on Instagram at 100football. Our LinkedIn page if you want to connect with us on a professional level. It gives you just another link to go and check out our top-tier, high-quality podcast, available anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio. If you have a Google or an Alexa home device, just talk to it and say, hey, play 100 yards of football, and it will, thanks to the amazing power of technology. Every single day we have episodes up there, over 1,000. And on Facebook and YouTube, I've lost count, but I can easily say 1,000 plus. So go over there, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. To my guy, Jay McLovin, thanks so much for coming on, man. Once again, I've been your host, Logan Landers. Have a great day, everyone, and we will talk to you again on another live episode.